Well, hi there, I just want to wish you super welcome to the definitive FPS list in 2025. This video, my friends, is going to feature the best out of the best first-person shooters that has dropped up until August in 2025. Later on in the year, I'm going to make the second half of the year. And why does this drop in late September? Well, it took some time putting this video together, longer than I expected it to do. So it reaches to August. Later on, there's gonna be the second half of the year. But trust me, there are some bangers in here, and you might know of a few of them, but I can almost guarantee you that you don't know of all of them. So it's definitely worth checking this video out, because you might just find your next favorite FPS in here. Now, let's start with the co-op FPS segment of 2025. Let's go! So starting off, my broskis, is one of the craziest co-op first-person shooter games out there. It's got enemies that evolve, humor, a colorful and vibrant world with mega secrets and a progression system that is quite unlike any other out there. It's great fun playing this game solo, but of course it's more fun with friends. But important to note is that this game is just as accessible alone as with friends. So next is one of my favorite roguelite / co-op first-person shooter games of the year so far. Dead Zone Rogue puts you inside of a spaceship that has been overtaken by this weird biomass that is trying to save humanity by killing it. So of course it needs stopping, and who better to do it than you with a couple of buddies? Yeah, sure, with over 30 weapons that feel fantastic to play around with, synergies and side missions that just makes the game so much freaking fun. Yeah, this is simply a must play. And coming right up is without a doubt the most debated co-op shooter of the year, but also hands down the most brutal out of them all. I am one of those who truly enjoyed Killing Floor 3, and I have videos on the channel explaining exactly why. But regardless, this game offers wave-based co-op shooting with a cool progression system, plenty full of maps, challenges and side activities, with even more coming for free, so it's definitely worth a spin in my book. And here we have one of the most gorgeous roguelite / co-op shooters out there. It will take you through a journey of an underwater city that holds many secrets as well as jaw-droppingly good-looking environments. Very similar to Dead Zone Rogue in many ways, but where this game really outshines the rest is in its bosses. They're fun, mechanically advanced and very pleasing to kill. Last and actually least in this category is FBC Firebreak, and I know this video contains the best first-person shooter games of 2025 so far, so why did I include this? Well, as most of you know, I did not have a good time with this, and I think it lacks a lot of content for being a $40 game. But it's simply here because it's worth following. The developers have said that they are revamping the whole game, they're not giving up on it even though it's bad reception. And I know these developers are talented, so my hope on this game is that it becomes something good one day, and I'm very glad that it's not dead yet. And now my broskis, we're entering the boomer shooter category of 2025, and we had some real mother-flipping bangers this year, and it's not looking like it's going to slow down anytime soon. So starting this category off, we got an excellent boomer shooter featuring a ton of slim, with even more coming in future updates. This ride, it will take you through space and deserts, with tons of references to other boomer shooters. It's got plenty of humor, loads of weapons and some really fun gameplay. Oh, and of course, lots of key and secret hunting. It's a game with heart, and it clearly shows as you play it. Now, Bloodkill might not be the highest of quality games out there. Hell, it feels rather low effort, and especially if you played its previous entries. Then you can clearly tell that many of the weapons and enemies are just copy-paste from the previous games. But you know what? This game is freaking fun. It's fun blasting hordes of enemies, and this game does that pretty damn well. So it is like one of the best anger management games of the year, and that's why it's on the list. Now coming right up is one game I know a lot of people were waiting a very long time for, but the wait finally stopped. Incision 1.0 is the most high-quality industrial body horror boomer shooter meets Souls-like bosses first-person shooter game out there. This is one I cannot recommend enough. Its environments are stunning, the gameplay and movement is so damn good, and it actually feels unique. It doesn't feel like every other game out there. And with the absolute top-tier soundtrack and boss design, it's just one of the best out there. Now Arcus 2, my broskis, is a colorful and interesting fantasy FPS with incredible voxel destruction. Everything in this game has been created with voxel-based graphics, and more or less everything is destructible. And that means that it doesn't just look gorgeous, it plays very well as well. With different biomes, a handful of weapons to destroy everything with, it's a short but sweet playthrough a magical fantasy world. Now next up might just be the most technically and ambitious first-person shooter using the eFPS engine. Quartermain has it all: a story, different characters, amateur voice acting, cool weapons, secrets, bosses, big and small levels, big and small bosses. It's the complete package for a $3 game. Very hard not to recommend. Wizardom, it is Apogee's latest entry into the world of boom shoots, this time with a fantasy theme. In its core, it's a very simple game, but as time evolved, so has Wizardom. Not only featuring more complex level design, but also cooler bosses, rideable mounts, abilities, pickups, upgrades, and very sweet environments with a soundtrack that goes bloody hard. Oh, and not to be forgotten is its very cool level design that lets you flip the game completely upside down and more or less create your very own game inside of Wizardom. It's like a simple and very cool modding tool. Next is a great bite-sized boomer shooter. This one can be enjoyed and finished in about 3 to 5 hours depending on your skill and how much you explore. But during these hours it offers a lot more than one might expect. First of all, it's got a really visceral, gritty style to it, set in a city that was literally buried in its own trash. It's got lots of killing, and more might be happening than first meets the eye. But to uncover it all, there will be some light platforming, some smaller and some bigger levels with key hunting, new weapons to discover, bosses, and a bloody good time. Now this one right here is one of my favorite boomer shooters to release so far in 2025, and when I say that, I mean raw Quake style boomer shooter. It was actually developed by former Quake mappers and it clearly shows in its levels. But it's not just the levels that are really well made. The few weapons that are currently in the early access version all look and play great, coupled with a card system that lets you unlock certain abilities for your character as you go. But don't mistake it for a roguelite. It's very much a linear campaign focused game with a roguelite mode on the side that you can play if you so wish. And coming right up is another bite-sized boomer shooter, although this one leaning a bit more into the fantasy and demon side of things, comparing it to Dead Trash. It's also a bit longer, it will take you roughly 4 to 6 hours to complete, especially if you get stuck like I did. It's nonetheless a great boomer shooter to play over the weekend with a banger soundtrack to headbang to while slaying the demons. So Project Warlock 2 finally reached its 1.0 state, and with it comes 3 different episodes that all play vastly different from one another. All 3 with different biomes, enemies, playable characters, abilities and weapons. It's almost like 3 bite-sized games in one, but interconnected by the style. It's a very solid experience that is quite hard to put down once you start. It's always fun unlocking new weapons and then modifications for the weapons that actually vastly keeps on changing them. It's an experience like nothing out there and simply a must play. Now last up in this category is a fantastic throwback to near Wolfenstein days. At first, this game was not free look at all, but eventually during development they decided to add it in. The option to play without is still there though, and it lets us descend into the Spanish Civil War and play through 3 decently long episodes. It's crunchy, it's fun, it's simple yet challenging, and it reeks of charm. This will tingle all the right nerves for the real old schoolers and newcomers alike. Mother flippin' bangers, right? I told you. And now, as we enter the best roguelite FPS games of 2025, I just want to remind you of the Discord link down below. It's so cool. I'm just saying this and reminding you all the time for your sake, not for my sake, for your. Now let's check out some of the best roguelites. So starting this category off is an excellent roguelike FPS. Voidbreaker is as if Control meets Tron, with both insane movement, satisfying gun action and destructible environments that you use to your advantage, like picking up fallen debris and shooting them at your foes with your powers. Or why not throw a grenade above or under an enemy to have the debris fall right on them? Either way works, and it's a satisfying cocktail of well-polished mechanics that turns this roguelike into really fun. Soulslinger is sitting on a bit of a mixed reception, but essentially what it is a room-to-room roguelike set in a dark fantasy cowboy world. Personally, I dug it quite a lot, and there is a decent grind to it. What it's really lacking is the synergies of the run-specific upgrades, where you pick the elements to go with. You can become a powerhouse if the RNG lets you, but there are better examples of it out there, like Abysses or Dead Zone Rogue, which were in the co-op section of this video. But if the setting of the game is big importance to you, this, hands down, is the best cowboy roguelike FPS out there right now. And next up is Voidborn and its 1.0 release. This, my broskis, is one hell of a high quality roguelike FPS. It's got very much a ton of Dark Souls meets Ultra Kill, and it plays pretty much as at least I imagine a clash of the two games would. It has impressive scenery, extremely hard and challenging gameplay, as well as bosses, fast movement and a room-to-room core mechanic, but where you choose what path that you want to take. Last but not least in the roguelite segment is Cruel. It's a super greedy roguelite where the goal is to escape a burning apartment complex, but of course it's not as easy as running out of it. You have to make it to floor 10 and kill everything that is in your way, and you gotta do it fast so that the fire doesn't catch up to you. But where this game truly shines is in its extremely nice to look art style, soft animations, and extremely punchy and gritty combat. And next up is one of my absolute favorite categories, the dark, the gritty, the brutal ones. Let's dive into the grittiest of first-person shooters of 2025, and I just spit right on my monitor. That's how excited I am. Now, this is a very brutal one. This one takes it more slow than most games in this video thus far, and being challenging is this game's middle name. It lets you explore a fantasy feudal Japan in a dark and twisted dungeon crawler style. Expect to fight in a Souls manner, but in first person. Manage your gear, solve puzzles, try and find your way, and die. Lots and lots of dying, but in a way that doesn't feel overly frustrating thanks to its overall excellent design in both encounters and level design. Oh, and did I mention twisted characters that are nothing but a treat for the eye? Yeah, there is plenty of that as well. Next up is Chasmal Fear, and while this one didn't take me by storm in any way, it still has a really cool concept that I wish that we get to see more polish on in the future. It's a survival horror game that takes place in an underwater base, overrun by some virus turning everyone that worked there into, well, mutants, of course. It's best experienced through the built-in body camera effect, as that really amps up the scary a bit. It can also be played in co-op with up to 2 friends, which in all honesty removes the scary quite a lot. However, as I said, its concept is really cool, but unfortunately it's infested with more than just mutants. The bugs, they were a bit overwhelming, and I hope that it gets some polish in the future. Mother Hub, another survival horror and another rather janky one at that. But I think that this one deserves a spot here, simply because this game dares to try something fresh, something new. It's developed by a solo developer, and it is a bite-sized experience, with what feels like cheap assets here and there, but it's got a story with multiple endings, some really cheap jump scares, and some moments that are genuinely fun and screams of personality, which in the end actually turns the janky experience into something that is definitely memorable and at times rather fun. I've been thinking about this game way more than I ever thought that I would after finishing it. And last but not least, in the gritty segment is Stygian Outer Gods. This, my friends, is through and through a modern Resident Evil experience set in the mystical fantasy of Lovecraft. But this, my broskis, is not a janky one. This is a really high quality one from the very first footstep onto the last. It did, however, suffer from some performance issues. If they're fixed yet, I actually don't know, but I plan to revisit the game very soon, so I will figure out then. However, you can expect both melee and gun combat in this one, but also lots and lots of resource management when it comes to ammunition and health packs. But that's kind of a staple for a good Resident Evil-like survival horror experience, and this one, it does it right. And next up is also one of my favorite categories of first-person shooters, the brutal ones, the most brutal, fun, no bullshit gameplay only type of games. Let's dive into them. The standalone DLC to one of the tank FPS games ever. Unfinished business takes off where Rogue City left us. This time we infiltrate a skyscraper overtaken by thugs that needs killing. It's essentially more RoboCop that we all came to love in 2024. A couple of new enemies, some new weapons, some new levels, and most of all, you get to pilot an ED. It's a good time and well worth the buck, especially as a standalone DLC. But in my opinion, the base game is a better ride and it does go on sale often for like $5, which is nothing but absolute mad in the brain. And then comes the tactical first-person shooter with the coding of a boomer shooter. But trust me, it's nothing like a boom shoot. This one requires you to take it slow, analyze, be strategic, follow the linear campaign that takes you through semi-big open zones with different objectives. You have to pick your loadout, and yes, you can pick any gun from the get-go. There's nothing as unlocks in this game. The arsenal is there, and you pick what you want until you reach your inventory limit. It's a good game that starts off a bit rocky with some wobbly AI, but is more than a decent entry into the world of tactical first-person shooters, with a very unique look to it. And then comes maybe the hardest and most immersive out of all games on the list, Night Dive's remaster of System Shock 2. This one goes hard on the immersive level, both in terms of weapons, character progression, storytelling, environments, and yeah, pretty much every single aspect that you can think of. But it's also what makes it bloody challenging at times. But if it sounds like your cup of tea, this will not disappoint at all. Now personally, the Dark Ages lived up to every single expectations that I had of it. I think it feels like Doom, it looks like Doom, and brings it to a new level like a new entry should do. It's brutal, it's well paced, has a story no one understands a crap from, gorgeous graphics, runs well, sick environments, yeah, it brings the whole package for a modern Doom game. But it's also very expensive. So if you haven't bought it already, wait for a sale. Even if you can't afford it, just to make a stance against the ridiculous price, you should wait for a sale. And coming right up might be my personal biggest surprise of 2025. This is through and through a walking sim with some puzzling and lots of exploring. But it's such a gripping one. It's got some of the most mesmerizing graphics. It's a truly immersive story with some of the best voice acting that I've ever heard, all done in handmade clay. Then it was scanned into the digital world. It's a marvel that I recommend everyone to experience, no matter your preference of video games. Fallout in London? Nah, not really actually. This manages to stand on its own two legs and be something unique. It's on the slower side, definitely, with lots of exploring, environmental storytelling and figuring stuff out on your own. But it's super well designed in the sense that even though it doesn't hold your hand, it still gives you enough. Enough to the point where you feel like an Einstein without getting frustrated. And the world is also very beautiful in this one. The story, however, well, it gets a pass at least. And last but not least for the first half of 2025 is Technoplasm. It's a brutal beat 'em up mixed in with some gun fu fighting. It's a unique game with plenty of small mechanics set in a mysterious world, developed by Mothership Loudspeakers, and while this one still sits at its first version of early access, there is more coming, and what we had so far makes the future look very promising for this one. Broski, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you even so much as slightly enjoyed this video, definitely hit a like and smack the living crap out of that subscribe, because I got a ton more just like this coming right up. And Papa Slim, he will see you in the next one. Over and out, my broskies.